Yeah, I might as well start with the preamble stuff because that's going to fill up a minute or two. So we'll start just a minute early, maybe, with the agenda for the July 24th, 2024 Conservation Commission meeting at the Municipal Center, virtually online with Zoom as well as in person. Members of the commission who are online tonight, for the record, are hold on one second.
Ariane.
Don.
And myself, Mike O'Haron, Don Paul, Arian Barton, and Mike O'Haron. So we're online. And so roll call votes will be on roll call form. We just need to remember, as you make a motion, it's just for the ease of the person doing the recording as well, for the minutes. If you just state, for example, Neil first or Steve second or something like that for motions, that would help speed things up and make it clear for the person making the minutes as to who said what, as well as myself. Sometimes I can't tell who said what, and I want to make sure we give the proper person credit for making motions or so forth. So that'd be great, as well as when you're casting your votes for items. Thank you. I wanted to start off before we get into the actual hearing items with covering some information that was sent out earlier this week to members of the commission via Hannah at the request of following the advice of our town council to avoid violation of open meeting law. I did not include any additional correspondence or communication about the information that was sent out. It was just so in a little bit of raw form. You may have been wondering about it some, although there was some information in the section that the town council provided of the email. This was regarding my desire to look into a number of things over since the last meeting about that had come up and have come up in the past, not just at the last meeting, about the Mullen Rule, about having members who might have missed multiple meetings for an event, more than one meeting in this case, since the Mullen Rule does, we thought, cover one meeting, and so and for one person, and that is the case. But multiple meetings, how we could make that up if a recap meeting was possible and so forth. What the legal opinions were for these items, so we'd have them for the record for the future, not just for tonight's meeting, but for also for the record for the future. So just to recap quickly, for those members who might have seen that email but not have reviewed it thoroughly, or just in case we have any questions coming up, the Mullen Rule, which was approved by town meeting, I found out from our town clerk back in 2022. The town approved it for all boards and committees. States clearly on the certification form that it can only be used for missing one session of a public hearing for an individual member of a committee or commission, and that they basically are verifying on the certification form that they missed a hearing for whatever issue it was, and the date and the time and so forth, that they are making that information up by looking at the audio recording and then video recording and so forth, and signing off on that form. That form is going to be modified and a copy made available for the Concom. It was set up originally by KP Law for the one you guys will receive. Says I am a member of the planning board as item number 1. We'll be changing that to Conservation Commission. It's a simple change that be modified for that. So we'll have that available for the future. But that's one member missing one item. Missing one meeting of a hearing. The second question I'd asked our town council was, if someone misses multiple meetings, can we make up for it in some way to allow the member to participate in the hearing process, cast votes and so forth, especially a long-term hearing. The opinion legally, which was given by our town council in summary, but it was included in that July 18th email from Connor Mullen from KP Law, is basically no. We can't do a recap meeting just to do a recap meeting. What can happen is, if the applicant for the hearing item that they wanted to try to see if this could be done for is willing to re-advertise and restart the entire hearing process, then at their cost, because they would have to re-advertise and so forth, then as part of that restarting of the whole hearing process from the beginning, they could expedite the whole hearing process somewhat by doing some recap meetings along the way to then allow meeting members who are now participating that weren't able to or missed multiple meetings to then be no longer disqualified from being able to vote and then participate in the actual voting process and so forth going forward from there. But that would have to be a restart of the entire hearing process. So that's the only way that they felt that legally we could do some sort of catch up for someone who's missed more than one meeting, where the Mullen rule could cover that person. So does anybody have any questions about that? Does that seem pretty clear? Does any issues, items think of for the commission members?
Seems clear to me. This is done.
Hopefully it was helpful. And again, we have it for the record. We have, you know, note in written form as a legal opinion from town council. So we'll keep this in mind going forward. Okay. If you have any other questions about that, then I'll move along to the first item on the hearings tonight. 40 Ruth Ellen Road. It's a new hearing regarding an enforcement order. Applicant Ladier or Leiter Braga. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. And there's no representative per se for the applicant. Who's here representing that? Is there someone from the, I see Ladier's iPad is online. If you want to unmute and speak, feel free to.
Yeah, we're here. I'm representing Ladier Braga. My name is Brent.
Okay.
I'm a friend of Ladier from 20-something years, and I'm just trying to help him out with the process here. You know, what's happened to his property, you know, a case that was brought against Ladier that, you know, for the lack of a better word, was a lack of knowledge, you know, on his end. And
excuse me,
was
Breno,
yes.
yeah, you're getting a very bad echo. At least I'm hearing a bad echo on my end. I don't know in the commission room or in the conference room. Are you guys hearing this echo?
Yes. Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't know if you can adjust your microphone or your speaker locations. Maybe they're too close to each other or something. But this backfeed echo is a little bit of an issue.
Okay. Let's see if I can do it here.
I think it might be because you have two devices. So maybe one of them you need to have the volume all the way down.
Oh, that's good.
Can you hear me now better?
Yeah, that's better, I
Yep.
think.
Yes.
Also, just so that you know, your video picture shows the top of your forehead, and that's about it.
Okay.
Just if you want
Sorry,
to.
this is
Okay.
all new to
That's fine.
us.
We're happy.
so.
We're happy to help adjust. It's a learning process. That's fine. So, could you say what the enforcement order that was placed with your friend was about?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
What was the enforcement order about for the Ruth Ellen Road location for?
I believe it was a violation from a reservation area. You know, he put a small deck on the back of his house, you know, and the intent, I guess, was, you know, not to invade the preservation area. It was just a lack of knowledge. He didn't know, you know, there was, you know, a bylaw in a preservation area that was back there. So.
And okay, Hannah's going to share some information, some pictures. Okay. So is that a deck or a dock or a platform?
Was a dock he was trying to do. He was going to plant on the top some, you know, grapes and that sort of thing along those lines with a little dock there. This lower part at this point, I won't be able to show the pictures right now because I'm having a hard time sharing the pictures, but this part, the dock part has been removed. Let's see if I can share the pictures, the current pictures here. And the vegetation that was there has outgrown at this point. It's all back to normal. He hasn't touched that project, you know, and over a year now. So his intent is not to continue. It's to take that down and, you know, let the vegetation grow back, which it has since last year.
Okay. And
I just gave him sharing rights. I don't know if you can show your updated pictures now.
yeah, Breno, if you want to show us the
Let's see if I
updated
can do
pictures.
this. Not the greatest person with technology, but let me see. I have here 1 second. I did think I sent Hannah on your email. I sent some of the current pictures. I'm not sure if you might be easier for you to access than than myself.
I don't have an email.
How long ago did you send those? Today?
Just now, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Hope he hasn't gotten them yet. While you're talking about or discussing that, the dock, D-O-C-K, as in a boat dock, was what was put in there originally? And if so, it looked like it was elevated quite a bit, unless this is an airboat or some sort or something like that. Was there a water body that was drained out of that area below the dock?
No, well, there's a water body, a small water body on the bottom. There's a stream of water that runs along and the front of that dock, not underneath, in front of it.
So it's nothing that you do boating from. It's the
No,
stream.
no.
Okay.
No.
Just checking. I mean, usually people put in a dock and they fish off it or boat off it or something like that. But I didn't think there was enough water in that area off the Ruth Ellen Road to do any kind of boating.
That stream, yeah, no, that stream of water, it's about 3 feet wide and a foot deep, if that.
All right. And how long ago was this building construction work done?
That was last year. That was done within a week, but it's no longer the dock part you see. It's no longer there. So I'm doing my best here to share the pictures now, and the vegetation has grown since.
Okay.
So
I
was never his intent.
I just texted you my email just to make sure you have the right email. And if you resend it, I can share it.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you, Anna. So let's see here. Sent. No, Hannah, I apologize. I had here on the pending. Hang on 1 second.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I have photos on my computer. If maybe I can give a quick overview. I've been in contact.
Whoever has something to share, that'd be good. We want to keep moving along if we can.
Yeah, let's hear.
Oh, thanks.
Any kind
Right.
of pictures would be helpful to show something like what it represents now.
All right.
Okay, here you go.
Okay. So these are some photos actually that the neighbors have sent over. So just to give you a background here, when I first came aboard in May, this was one of the first items that came into the office regarding conservation, with essentially some clearing of vegetation and building of these docks and structures. So you can see along the back property, and there's some zoomed out photos. I have more, but this structure is on a tree, almost like a tree house. And then that dock that went over the drainage ditch, that has been taken out since this picture was taken, which was connected to this wooden structure shown here. You get to some other photos. This is a good zoomed out photo. You can see that's that drainage swale or stream that runs across the back of the two properties. Yes.
And say confirmed
Ruth Ellen
resource
and Stella.
area.
Correct. Yep, right between Ruth Ellen and Stella. And that slope is what had been devegetated with trees and shrubs that have been removed. You can see it when this photo was taken, it was rather barren. When I went out there, it was also pretty barren. You can see so that some of the stumps remained. There's debris that was left behind on the slope of the hill, as well as some debris also being left in the stream. It's a good photo showing that. And I know you're getting a pretty bad echo again.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time. I apologize. Yeah.
It's okay. This is just another photo of that drainage ditch with the barren slope with debris on it.
Rob, when
is-
was that picture taken we're looking at right now?
This was sent by the abutters, so that would have been in April.
April, this
Yeah.
all happened in April.
And I
About
have,
a year ago. Can I show the pictures you just sent me, because they look
sure,
different?
yeah, let me get out of this.
So this is from Ladier's perspective. I'm assuming this black fence is your.
So basically, to the structure to the left is what's left of that dock platform.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
So low growing vegetation seems to be coming back in.
Yeah.
Obviously, no trees are gonna be back in. Do we know if there were a lot of trees along there or it's just one or two?
11
11?
trees cut down.
Yeah, I have.
Every bush.
Okay.
Was I thought that we didn't have that many trees back there, but and again, Ladir is more than willing to whatever it takes to bring that back to normal. If the tree's the issue, he'll plant, to make this right. It was never his intent to violate any bylaws, just a lack of his knowledge. So he's willing to repair if need be, and you can see that vegetation has grown somewhat at this point. So
All right.
whatever you guys tell us to do, it's again was really lack of knowledge and deprive him from making any informed information at the end of the day. And if that the structure as well is an issue there, he can always remove what's left behind there. That's not a problem, and get some trees back there.
Okay, commission members, comments?
Michael, what is the question on the table at the moment?
Well, there's an enforcement order in place, basically a violation of probably doing work within and impacting the within 25 feet, in this case down to 0 feet, since they went right down to the stream bank, or is that considered an intermittent stream, Hannah?
Yeah,
Rob? Or just a drainage ditch?
no, it's a string.
Okay, so
It's a stream.
going down to the edge of the resource area, so there's an enforcement order in place, and if somebody's willing to do something about an enforcement order, I think in the past, the commission has been usually amenable to trying to work with that person and rather than having them not do anything about the enforcement order. So trying to make things quote unquote right, as the applicant's friend is saying here, is the question. What does the commission want to do about addressing this and trying to improve the situation / be able to remove an enforcement order, which is always a goal eventually. Hopefully with
Michael, I believe there might be a neighbor in attendance if you want.
Okay, sure. Thank you for pointing that out. I can't see the room, so I can't tell. If anybody in the room would like to speak at this moment, that would be good to have some additional input.
Yeah, I would.
Please identify yourself for the record.
Diane Hamilton. His property abuts mine with the creek in between us.
Okay. And your
Part of her property isn't on the other side of the creek. She owns about three feet past the water on the other side.
Going out. But what happened, it was in April of this year. I happened to come home from work and he had a whole bunch of his men, apparently he owns a company, in the creek. And you'll see in that one picture, there's a board going across from his property to mine. They were walking back and forth. They cut down 11 trees and every bush. And in April, luckily, there's fern, but they weren't up yet, or they would have been removed. Gone. All the branches were left. So they have caused little islands of dirt now. And what was like 10 feet across is now like 5 feet across. And very slow moving. It's not a regular creek like it was. It's a mess. It's a total mess. The fern have come up. All right, the fern are up. There's nothing else. I'm looking at his yard with that deck. He took the 2 end sides of the deck off and the dock, but he left the middle. Okay, so people still walk on there. And he has poles going up about 12 feet high, which I heard he was going to make some kind of arbor. All right, so I'm looking at that and a tree house that's not finished. God forbid somebody fell out of it. It's not railed. It's just like looking at a construction site, which never looked like that. And I have no privacy whatsoever now.
Okay.
Is there any damage to your property, May?
No damage to my property.
Other than what was ripped out, because
Yeah.
So there were trees removed that are on your property or what?
No, he didn't remove a tree on my property, but he left branches down all over the place.
Yeah, all the silt came down from that slope that had no vegetation and went into the stream.
Yeah,
So the stream that was wide is now, there's all black silt banks. And it's not flowing the way it was supposed to.
no,
So rainwater is filling the stream in by washing the surrounding berms in.
there's,
No, it's dropping the silt from the, it stopped now because there's more vegetation growing, but before it was just dirt and it was running down into the stream. So
right.
now we have silt banks,
Mhm.
which we had maybe one before, but that was it.
Right. And how long a stretch of stream bank are we talking about this being affected? What's the length along there? 50 feet, 100 feet?
I'd say about 50 feet, maybe more.
Yeah, I'd say 50 feet, it sounds accurate based on my observations out there.
All right, commission members, thoughts?
Ariane has her hand raised. I don't know if that's on
Please go ahead. I can't tell. I said.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
didn't see that. Go ahead, Ariane, please.
So to kind of piggyback off what these people are experiencing, it sounds like he may have damaged the capability of the bank to withstand erosion. And that would be something that we would want to have replicated, and perhaps we could suggest maybe a like 1.5 to 1 ratio.
When you say replication 1.5 to 1, what do you mean, Ariane?
Like he has to determine where he can improve it even more, because
So
I'm
more-
sure that
more
it was
length
made a
of
long
stream
time
bank?
ago.
More length of stream bank down, like 1.1 trees for the 11 that were removed per se. You're just talking about overall improvements of something more than just fixing the 50 feet, but something maybe expanding upon that somewhat. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be my recommendation.
I think that my opinion is that the property owner would benefit by having some professional advice in this. They are not, it sounds like, an expert on erosion control by any means, or they wouldn't have done this in this way, the earlier work. I think that if we require that they get a professional wetlands / restoration type specialist who can provide them specific advice on removing carefully, perhaps some of the silt in areas where it makes sense to do so, maybe not everywhere, because it wouldn't always make sense to clear everything out, to do any, I'm not gonna say riprap, but some sort of retention along the actual stream bank, right where it hits the water, to help keep where there is no longer even much in the way of roots holding it from continuing to wash out. Adding selectively, if it makes sense to do so, again, with professional advice, specific types of trees in a few locations along that bank area to help provide better long-term stabilization. Eventually trees might sprout up on their own and grow there, but that could be decades. And we'd like to see better retention sooner than that, especially in the winter time when most of this vegetation will be gone and we could be seeing major erosion again. I think if we asked and had that expertise of the plan provided for us to review, that would be a good step forward as a first step. What does the commission think on that?
I agree. I would like to see a time frame on it, Mike, if we could.
Sure, that makes sense.
I agree as well. I think the best way to accomplish that would be to have him come forward with an NOI.
Anybody else? Neil, Noel, anybody else have any?
Well, I think removing the rest of the structures as well.
Oh, yes, thank you for pointing that out, Neil. That's a good point.
That structure, okay?
Items that are within 25 feet are within the no disturb zone. I don't know how long the bank is from the edge of the water, for example, to the structure, but I'm sure it's less than 25 feet. And so any structures that are within there, and technically the tree house, even if it's not touching the ground, should have been something that would have been applied for. I don't think the building department, we had this discussion before about another piece of property. What did we end up deciding? Does the building department get involved in tree houses? Did we ever find that out?
Well, I don't think I think the treehouse needs to be removed.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's what I was reaching for, to figure out.
Well, the
That's
treehouse
not
needs to
touching
be
the
removed,
ground.
the remains of the platform, the poles, all of those structures need to be removed.
Can we hold off on that until we, the erosion and sedimentation plan in front of us?
Well,
Yeah, I would say
what are
none
we
of that
proposing
should be
here?
done
Right.
without
Those
the
need to be removed,
NOI
right.
being filed.
Okay.
I
Right.
just don't want him to go tell the owner and then have.
Well, we don't have an order yet.
Right.
Right, okay,
Yeah,
so
the
I
erosion-
think Ariane's correct, an NOI is the first step, and part of that process will be that we would want to see them come back with a replication improvements, restoration plan that's detailed and thorough to deal with long-term erosion control as well as replanting and revegetating the area properly. So for long-term removal of the structures, facilities, gravel work, road pathways, et cetera, anything within the 25-foot no disturb area other than the tree house itself, perhaps since it's not touching the ground. And that they could do that in a prompt manner, that would be good. If Breno, if Ladir wants to reach out to Hannah to learn more about how that process works.
Yeah. Well, may I make a comment, Michael?
Yes, go ahead.
So, the erosion, all those, the issues they brought up, I'm friend with Ladir for a while. And to me, I have no knowledge or expertise on this, but didn't seem there's a lot of erosion going on there. But regardless, we have been in touch with Marian DePinto, which runs a company. It's called 3 Oak Environmental. So we just haven't been able to reach her to look at this. We have the property survey and everything else, the plans, and properly take care of this. But
When
she's
you-
away. She has been away. And
Who is this?
we're
Wait,
just
excuse
waiting for
me.
her to get back to follow through on us on a plan. And I wonder if we can give us some times and we'll follow up with you guys on it.
Well, Breno, this company that you're talking about, Tree Oak, what was the name of it again?
3 Oak Environmental.
And what was their original dealings with the property?
Marian
How-
DePinto. No, well, she's environmental company. She's going to help us through this process.
Oh, okay, so she hadn't worked on clearing the hillside.
No,
of it.
not yet.
Okay.
But it,
I thought if you're saying she was the landscape company that did that, because if they were the ones, we don't want them to necessarily. take the lead on this.
no one has touched that yet. That's
Okay.
the thing. So,
All right.
we would like to bring her in and to help Ladir, make sure the erosion has occurred, look it back and see what the stream looks like back then, bring to its natural conditions, because I don't think we have enough data on this. She might be able to tell us. But my personal experience, there was not a lot of erosion here, or a bank or sand falling to the stream. That's my knowledge, my experience, what I seen it. But regardless, we're going to go ahead if you allow us and contact Marianne from the environmental company, and she'll guide us through and bring this back to what it was before.
Well, okay, but that needs to happen as part of an NOI, notice of intent, with the Bellingham Conservation Commission. In other words, we're not saying just go ahead and work with that company and that person and fix things the way they think that they should be fixed. That's not acceptable.
Okay.
What we need to have happen is her and yourselves work with us through the NOI process, which Hannah can explain to this person if she isn't already familiar with it at that company. And then working through, again, the commission, come up with a plan that would be approved by the commission before proceeding with it. We don't want you guys to go ahead and do a bunch of stuff and find out that while you did some stuff that was good, it wasn't enough, or you needed to do X,
Okay.
Y, and Z, and the enforcement order will still be in place because we won't have been properly consulted and it won't have properly been resolved and dealt with in the way that it needs to. So I just want to be clear with you. You can certainly reach out to that person and have her work with you, but please understand that what we're saying is we are requiring a notice of intent, NOI, to be filed with the commission, which is the fairly simple process, and which that person may not be very familiar with. If not, Hannah can help guide you guys through that. All right, does that make sense?
We'll make sure to follow the municipalities and bylaws and
Okay, great.
And no work can be done until that filing is complete.
Right, please don't
I
do
wanna
any
stress that.
additional work.
Nothing.
All right, okay, any other commissioners' questions?
What Neil said, I wanted to reiterate, 0 work, all work is stopped until we release it.
Right, Breno, just so that you can be clear with Ladir that, and anybody else that's on site there, an enforcement order does mean a stop order. It means don't do any more things there on the site. Leave
Correct,
things as they
correct.
are. Don't take away
yes-
the structures now. Don't do anything until we get back an NOI and are dealing with that through the
Okay.
channels, okay?
And Michael, want a time frame when we can expect this.
Well, I had said as soon as is reasonable. Beg your pardon? Somebody said something?
Nope.
No, okay. I'm hopeful that you would come to us within 2 weeks. Do you think that's reasonable, Bruno, that you can reach out to that company and that person?
We actually reach out to Marion from the company we're talking about, the 3 Oak Environmental.
Yeah.
She's been traveling, so she's away. She's our contact. So you might, if you can extend this a little longer, greatly appreciate it.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
How
I don't
about
want to say
21
2 weeks.
days?
Yeah, I don't want to say 2 weeks and she's gone for a month out of town and she's the best person to work on this and you're willing to do this. We certainly could extend it. So at this point in time, if you think, for example, as Ariane just, I think, mentioned 21 days, if you think that you can do that within a couple of weeks, say 3 weeks or so, if you have an issue and are going to need more time, we would like to see you reach out to Hannah and explain what's going on, what the delay might be, and getting to us with, again, filing an NOI doesn't mean we expect you to fix things or everything by then. It's just to start the formal process. So it's basically starting some paperwork going to indicate that we're moving forward with a plan and getting the planning going. It's not to complete the work. We're not pushing to do things that rush, but we do want to see this move forward. We would like to see enforcement orders resolved. And so does that sound reasonable to you? Is that within 21?
It does sound, yeah.
Okay.
And Ladir has no problem with that at all, which you brought up to Hannah when I talked to her earlier. That's his intent, and repair
Okay.
and fix this. And we're just looking for some sort of extension, but we
Okay.
have this already scheduled for today. So yeah,
All
thank
right,
you so much.
Okay, any other commission questions? So we're looking for this to happen within 21 days, and we've made that clear. We don't need a vote on anything at this point in time because no action's been taken. I think we can move along to the next item on the agenda, which is a continued hearing for 1052 South Main Street, construction of a drainage pipe to replace the failing drain pipe located with the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW. Glenn Wagner is the applicant and Representative Chris Syriac. Chris online? Is Chris in the room?
Chris is not online.
Or in the room? Rob, are you representing,
Yeah, I mean,
updating something?
Wait, just so, Bruno, feel free, you can stay on if you wish, but we are good with you. And I don't know, Mike, if you officially have to close it because it is a.
I'm logging out here. I'll get back to
Oh,
you.
well, okay, yeah, that's a good point. If I since we did open the hearing, I guess we can close the enforcement order and continue for 21 days. So I'll accept a motion to close the enforcement order. I close the hearing.
Here,
Close the hearing, not close the enforcement order. Close the
we're
hearing.
not gonna close the hearing, we're gonna continue it.
Okay, thank you, Neil. Continue the hearing for 21 days or to the next meeting of the Conservation Commission after 21 days. Since 21 days won't be.
And we'll file the notice of intent within next week or so.
Okay, so I need a motion and a second for that. To continue. And the.
Is that Steve?
No,
They
Noel motion, James second.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And the date, just for the record, for that meeting after 21 days is what, Hannah or somebody who's got a calendar right in front?
It's the next meeting, so August 14th.
Well, no, would that be 21?
Yeah, because
Okay.
August here.
Okay, good. All right, so August 14th then, let's say. Okay, just because we like to put a date usually on continuations. Okay, so we got them first and a second on this. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, roll call. Ariane,
Aye.
Noel,
Aye.
James,
Aye, sorry, you caught me in the slip.
no problem. Don?
Aye.
Line Don, thank you. Steve,
Aye.
Neil,
Aye.
Mike O'Haron online, aye. Did I catch everybody? Did I miss anybody?
On.
I'm sorry, Don, no, I thought I said Don.
You said.
Don?
Noel?
I said aye.
Oh, Noel,
Oh.
sorry, Noel.
I
Yes.
went first.
Yes, we're all good. We got them
I
all.
thought so, okay. Don't confuse me here. I
Go
thought I
around
got
again.
everybody. I thought I got everybody. Don't confuse me. Okay. All right, so we have unanimous vote. Thank you. All right, so that takes care of that item.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Second, yep, you're welcome.
Espresso shot.
All right, so
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. That's all that concerns us.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming, yeah.
Please,
Thank you for your prompt action.
please attend the next one if you
We
will.
will.
Yes,
August.
Thank you for those that were in the room.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For those on the room and online that you've been
Thank
keep
you.
posted with us if you'd
Yeah.
like to. What's going on? Okay.
So 1052 South Main.
Yeah, so
Right,
10,
yeah, so 1052 South Main. Rob.
yeah, so I am here, not Chris. So I know the last time we spoke about this, there was basically DPW was gonna reach out to Glendon Wengler, the property owner. Wenger, okay, Wenger, there we go. Man, this is gonna be a long night. So the plan was to reach out to the property owner, which my understanding is the DPW did, to remove the wooden boards to get more of a permanent flow for that pond. And basically the point of this meeting was to give an update. And I will admit that I don't really have much of an update right now. I know there was some vacation between DPW and just connecting and some busyness. I know that there is an urgency from the commission as well as the abutters to get some answers on this, which I would like to get some promptness and make this a priority, moving forward, which I do apologize. I don't have much of an update for tonight. What I would ask is perhaps just continue this for one more month. I can really,
I went out there.
oh, that's right, Hannah went out there, so.
I did his job and I'm just kidding. I went out just to check out to make sure that the boards were actually removed. There's one board based on what me and Rob remember it previously looking like. There's one board that's still there, but there is water flow happening. And then also you've talked to Bernadette and there hasn't been any flooding currently.
Is this the upper lower thing we were talking about? last
Yes,
time?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, so at least I will say 100% of the boards are removed because I'm pretty sure there's one there, but majority are removed and there hasn't been any flooding currently. So ongoing monitoring is the next
yes,
steps.
is the critical path, as well as some discussions with DPW about moving ahead with maybe some long-term solutions as well, so.
Are there any neighbors in attendance?
Bernadette's here. Yep. So.
Does she want to say anything?
Yeah, Bernadette, if you'd like to ask a question?
I was just saying, recently I haven't seen any flooding going on, but we haven't had we've had some storms, but not like we've had in the past, so, I'm assuming Mr. Winger has done something with those boards, like I mentioned earlier to Rob, because I've noticed a difference. But again, it's just a temporary fix. It was my understanding Chris was waiting for Mr. Winger to move those boards so the water would go down. So they would have access to that pipe to replace the pipe. And that's the last I've heard of this. And
Okay, well, the replace the pipe part hasn't been approved, so that's an
no, I
assumption.
understand that. No, I know it hasn't been approved,
Okay,
but that's the holdup here. We just waiting to move forward.
right, okay. All right, well, without any further information available, I think that we've covered this as much as we can at this point in time. They've done some stuff. We'll continue to monitor it and watch for the DPW to look at longer term suggestions, cost, pricing, whatever with the town. Maybe are willing to offer some financial support in finding some sort of engineering, at least plan to do some designing and or investigating of sources of the water, not just the pipes that are feeding from the town drainage, and adding to the situation and seeing if we can come up with a longer term designed solution rather than just the simple pipe replacement, which doesn't necessarily lend itself to a permanent or even a long-term solution without some sort of engineering backup to it. It seems to make sense on the surface, but again, we don't have engineering supporting that. It's just our feeling that that might have helped, but we want to move forward in the plan process we've identified, so forth. So we'll wait for the DPW to get back to us and continue to monitor. In the meantime, let us know if the situation deteriorates, Bernadette, maybe there's a clog or something, and we can help resolve it short term. And the DPW's numbers obviously too.
I thought though, Mike, that there was some study that was gonna take place. Is that what you're talking about when you talk about this?
Yes, that's the study. I think that basically they need to find funding to fund the study done by somebody who's qualified to look at all the possible ways that the water is going into that area and backing up into your area and other abutters, not just coming out of the storm drain pipe that comes and daylights out in the back of your property, but from the other sources, beaver activity, for example, or the drainage of the irrigation pond itself, or the clogging of the resource area that's between the berm and your property, but all those areas, and trying to identify not only where the sources of water during especially heavy rains and flooding are coming from, but what can be done to relieve them in a way that makes sense. So yes, that's the study that we need to find, but it's going to cost some money to do it and do it properly. And right now we have to see if the town is willing to work with DPW and come up with both a plan and a company and some money to spend to do that as a first
Wait,
step.
when you say where the water's coming from, I thought it's already been, we know where the water's coming from. We just don't know where it's going to, correct? We know the
Well-
water's coming from, up on South Main Street, from Saddleback, from Blackstone. We know where the water's coming from into that.
That's only part of it though, Bernadette, because there are.
Right, I understand that. Yeah.
That's coming from the pipe part. What we're looking at is that where is it coming from in other places, like the wetlands that are behind your property and go to the north and east back towards all the way up to eventually Blackstone Street and feed down that way. There's wetlands that feed underneath Blackstone Street and go right down along some other property owners through their property. I've seen the water flowing there at a good rate, and I know it'll eventually go around behind other properties that are along Stephen Road there. And behind their properties, it's adding to that flow that eventually backs up to the backside of the berm, hits that blockage of tree branches and debris and so forth.
Mike,
Again,
could I add,
right, Ariane.
another thing the engineering study does is determine what volume of water that pipe is receiving. And that is critical to sizing the pipe and making sure that the flooding doesn't happen again, whether it's now or 1 or 5 years down the road.
Right. That's helpful. No, thanks. It's also
Or downstream.
right. And it's also possible that they might be able to look at the cost of, even though I don't know that they ever spend the money, to connect that storm drain pipe all the way to, if the volume could handle it, to the pipe that goes through the berm, 8-inch, 12-inch, 15-inch, whatever ended up being there eventually, and feeding into the pond itself directly. That engineering wise, we don't even know if that's feasible. It may not have the right elevation to make it work that over that long a distance to connect from where it comes out behind your property to all the way to over there. That would certainly take away from backing up into your property, that one pipe, but if it can't be done engineering wise, there's no sense in trying to do so and spend a huge amount of money to try to reach across that couple 100 feet or whatever it is. So that's the kind of thing that hopefully the study will be able to show us, and in a scientific way know that we're getting some sort of results at the end that will work for everybody. So
Hey, Mike.
yes, go ahead.
I'm gonna suggest that we continue this to the first meeting of September. Not that I'm a weatherman by any means, but it's been a pretty dry summer and I don't imagine August being severely wet. So I can't imagine if we continue it 2 weeks to 4 weeks that there's gonna be much change in our thoughts at the moment.
Yeah, and it kind of sounds like,
Jinx it.
I was just gonna say, I think it sounds like this has been kind of stalled for a bit here, and I'd like to get some definitive plan in place for the commission, because
So the first meeting in September, Hannah, you were saying Concom meeting in the 11th of September?
Yes, that's what I'm suggesting.
Makes sense to me. Any other commission members have thoughts of that?
I just want to ask a question. So a definitive plan in place for the commission is coming from who? DPW?
yeah, I should say a definitive course of action.
Fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking for DPW to take the lead on this. Not
Yeah.
Concom. Concom would be a part of the approval process and regulatory process, but as needed, but
That's kind of where we've been for a couple months.
right,
Yeah,
and it's a slow process. Nobody promised it would be quick, but at least we're continuing to not lose focus. I mean, not lose track of it. We didn't drop it off the radar completely, and it's not moving as fast as anybody I think would like to, especially the butters. But once you start talking about funding and studies and engineering, you can immediately anticipate things will, slow down somewhat at least, I think. But I think that as long as we're staying on top of it and continuing to work with both the town administration and DPW, at least pushing DPW to work with town administration on coming up with some funding and some planning. I think that they know what they want to get from a town or from an engineer. So let's see what they come back to us with. So
I don't think without a real plan in front of us to look at and evaluate.
Yeah.
And apply the law to, I don't think we really have. We're not doing anything here except hashing over the same old ground.
yeah, so I think pushing it
Again and
off.
again, so unless the town is going to fund a real study of this and come up with a real engineered plan for us, there's nothing more to talk about.
Right, but putting a couple months down the road window to at least touch base about it and see, have they come up with the funding? Are they not going to do the funding? Something to at least know whether we're going to need to do anything down the road is, I think, a good thing to do rather than just dropping it at this point in time, which I'm not
Well,
saying you're suggesting, Neil.
Eventually, if they don't come up with a plan, we'll have to move to close.
Yes, I agree. I think that
They can
making it
start
clear
over
to,
again.
I think we need to make it clear to Chris, and we can do that, that they need to push this along with the administration, that we can't continue this indefinitely and won't continue this indefinitely. They need to, get a commitment from the town or not, that to do some sort of study, and if so, how much are they going to spend, when they're going to do it, when are they going to get the funding for it? They may have to go to town meeting to get funding. I don't know. Depends on how big a
Who
study
is
it is.
putting that pressure on DPW, Rob?
At
Yeah,
this point-
we've had ongoing conversations with there's a lot of drainage related issues going on in
Okay.
town that I've been working with DPW on to get specifically definitive course of action.
Okay.
I can go through the list, but,
Can I make a motion to move this to the next meeting?
well,
The 11th.
The 11th of September, I think, is what we're looking for.
Okay, so moved.
Second, anyone?
I'll second.
Noel, second, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll take a vote. Neil, Ariane,
Aye.
Noel,
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
James,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Noel.
I already.
I'm sorry, you said it? You already said it? Sorry.
Say it,
And
Maggie.
Mike online, aye. So it's unanimous vote. Thank you. Okay, so let's continue to the 11th of September at 7 p.m. Okay,
Everyone, thank you, Mike.
thank you. Thank you very much. All right, now going to the next item is 0 Maple Street continued hearing for notice of intent for proposed 19,525 foot industrial style building with parking area, 3 proprietary treatment devices and 2 subsurface infiltration systems. Rich Gordon is the applicant. Shane Oates is the representative. And is Shane in the room? I can't tell.
He requested last week to continue to the 14th because they're still going through peer review with
Right,
planning.
okay. Thank you. So we have a request from the applicant to continue, as planning board is still working on items with them. Although I think we've completed everything at this point for us, unless something is changed by planning board that might affect the Conservation Commission's to date definitive plans for the items that we have already discussed and or reviewed for the site. So I'll accept a motion to continue till when, Hannah, did you say? Next meeting? or when?
August 14th.
August 14th.
So moved.
Thank you, Steve. Second, anyone?
I'll second.
Noel, I think that was second. Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Noel,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
James,
Aye.
Don, online.
Aye. Aye.
No, sorry, Ariane,
Aye.
Neil,
Aye.
Mike O'Hare online, aye. All right, so unanimous vote, thank you. All right,
Nice job, Steve.
and oh, Steve, did I say Steve? I'm sorry if
Yeah,
I
no,
did.
you did.
I did, okay. I thought, yeah. I
No,
thought,
no.
okay, sorry. Connection's not great tonight.
I'm just
Right.
confusing people, Neil.
Next item on the agenda is continued hearing for notice of intent for Blackstone on North Street. 12, excuse me, 12 3-unit townhouse buildings, stormwater management system, John Mushian, applicant, representative Ryan Rosine. Ryan, I see is working on getting a whiteboard up there, so go ahead, Ryan, when you're ready.
Hi there, good evening. For the record, Ryan Rosine with Guard Consulting. So I think since the last meeting, I think you guys were gonna have town council review this draft CR. I think that was one of the last things that we were sort of waiting on, so.
They reviewed it and I shared the document with you guys and they added seven. Yeah, that's it. Like one sentence, which is so minor. It's just saying where the deed is gonna go to. More spots further up.
So Ryan, I assume your applicant would not have an issue with that one minor correction or adjustment?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
All right, so if we have a conservation restriction that's been reviewed and accepted by town council, and we've reviewed the rest of the project, including the order of conditions, which was done some time ago, I believe. And the only other thing that I think that we were waiting for, if I remember right, was the conservation management plan. Is
Yeah,
that
right? Yeah, conservation management permit, yes.
so?
Yeah,
What's the
natural-
status of that?
Natural Heritage is still reviewing that currently. I don't have an exact time frame of when they're planning to issue that. They have everything they need. They haven't reached out to me for any additional information. So hopefully sometime in the next two weeks, maybe 3, we'll have that issued, the amendment for that.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the commission? Do we want to approve based on and close the hearing based on the receipt of a completed conservation management plan from National Heritage, contingent on that, or continue to hold it open and continue the meeting, the hearing, sorry, to another meeting? What's the pleasure of the commission? Unless there are any other questions about any items that commission members still think or need to be resolved.
Didn't someone say that they were like several years delayed at Natural Heritage?
I think Matt Byrne made that comment.
Yeah, so maybe it would be,
They're very busy, yes, not several years, but but they do have a specific time frame they have to review this in. So they do have time constraints, but I don't have an exact time of when they're going to issue it.
Okay.
Mike,
Yes, go ahead, Steve.
my personal preference would be to wait, just to make sure things are in line, and because odd things happen. With that, I would like to ask the question, is there a risk of something if we were to wait?
A risk of something happening or not?
Is something really negative happening to the job or the application that,
Well, there's a time frame on when they can start.
Right,
Yeah,
Well,
Protection,
they're not allowed to start until they get their CMP anyway.
right.
right, and there's
Our permit is contingent on the CMP being received. We're not really building anything.
and there's
What he said, Heritage has their own agency, so just my principles, I don't want to be an agency that then decides that we're waiting on someone else to make their decision. Because their decision isn't necessarily contingent on our decision.
but ours is on theirs.
It shouldn't necessarily be, because they're their own state agency making their own decision to permit the project. We're permitting the project from a wetlands perspective.
And there are certain agencies that we have to presumptively assume are going to approve a project or that the applicant is going to apply through them.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, I'm amenable either way. If they want to continue this for another 2 weeks, the applicant can't do anything until they get the management plan. However, sounds like they can actually or want to still do some stuff. I'm not sure how that part would work. I'm still not clear on if you can. Are you saying that you can proceed, Ryan, with the project, even if you don't have the conservation management plan in hand from National Heritage?
No, we need the CMP, the amended CMP permit in hand, and they have a series of pre-work conditions that we need to do, such as recording and implementing the turtle protection plan. Other things like that before we can start work. So we would be in violation of the CMP if we started doing anything before we had that in hand and completed the necessary pre-construction steps.
So us not giving you, for example, a sign off tonight and closing and issuing the order of conditions and the conservation restriction to you tonight, we've already given you the letter stating that we would be willing to be the conservation restriction recipient, I believe. You got that correct?
Yes, I
Yeah.
got that and I submitted that to Natural Heritage for their.
Right, so they got what they needed, so we're not holding anything up on that point. Is there any downside to you guys not getting it from us something tonight, as opposed to 2 weeks from now, if you guys get the CMP, for example?
No, not necessarily. The only thing is, if we got the CMP amendment, say tomorrow, then we would be waiting, another 2 or 3 weeks for you guys.
Right,
So that's the only thing, but I just don't know when we're gonna get the CMP.
I think all of our questions have been answered, so I think there's no reason for us to hold it up other than for the reason that we feel like we can.
and we understand.
And I feel like
reasons,
we
I
could
don't think
condition
there's-
that, you know,
we-
just put it in the
that's-
order of conditions that he has to provide the document to us.
I think that's the question I asked.
Michael, let me restate, I'm okay with closing, especially since it's conditional on the CMP being in place. Because to continue is just adding more work on our agenda down the road.
Okay.
We're at the place of conclusion now anyway.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else on the
If it's
commission?
conditioned to have this, if it's conditioned to have the permit from National Heritage, then you can't start without the permit.
Yeah, we can't start with their permit, we can't start without your permits.
So if ours is conditioned,
I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure I already have it written
Yeah.
that way.
that has.
Yeah, and that's fine if you have to put that in there, that's.
Just I will ask, please make sure Hannah receives it before you do any work.
I think Natural Heritage sends a copy to her anyways,
Okay.
directly from them, but I'll make sure that if she's not CC'd, I'll send it to her.
So do you need a motion to close?
I
the
do need
hearing?
a motion, so go ahead and make one, Steve.
So move
Second.
Well, just to be clear, what is the motion you're making?
to close the hearing.
And issue an order of conditions and a conservation restriction for this project, conditional on the receipt of, before the project starts, of the CMP from National Heritage, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I've got a first. Do I have a second?
Second, James.
Thank you, James. Any other comments or questions from the commissioner? Okay, hearing none. Neil,
Aye.
Ariane,
Hi.
Don,
Aye.
James,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Noel,
I.
Michael Heron online, aye as well. So that's a unanimous vote. Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you all.
You can be in touch with Hannah about receipt of those 2 documents, and good luck.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
That's pretty good.
Down to the 7th of June, it's not too bad, 8 o'clock.
I think we need to just sit and wait for this start.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the dust to settle, yeah. Well, we're moving along at a pretty good clip, which I appreciate, because I'm kind of winding down myself over here physically. Anyway, excuse me. So the final item on the agenda for this section of the business, although I do have some other items coming up, another business that we need to discuss, is the continued hearing for the notice of intent for 217 Hartford Avenue. 700,000 square foot warehouse with BVW bank, land underwater impacts under the WPA with mitigation of 39,358 square feet of isolated wetland and vernal pools under bylaw with mitigation. Jeff Curley is the applicant, and the representatives are Brian Madden and Austin Turner, who I assume are all at the table there. It looks like you gentlemen are. Thank you for arriving and attending. As we left the last meeting, we had at my request and agreement of the commission, deferred and not closed the meeting at the hearing at that point in time, so that some additional information that I wanted to review and incorporate into and thoughts and so forth into the order of conditions that the commission is developing as the final document here could be incorporated, and they have been added. And recently there was some delays due to a few technical issues, but other things. But the commission members are invited at this point in time to bring up any questions or comments or concerns about anything related to the special order of conditions that they care to do so, either things that they thought of themselves, something they've seen in the document, or anything else. Any commission members have any questions or comments?
Got a couple things.
Sure,
Mike.
Rob.
James.
James.
I'm sorry,
So-
James. I saw Rob's
Alright.
hand. No, that was mine. It was an
We're
icon.
sitting next to each other, we look the same, so I don't blame you.
No, sorry,
My
there's
glasses today.
an icon on my screen. My hand icon went over Rob's
This
hand.
kind of here.
Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry,
I can
James,
go
go
sit
ahead.
in the audience.
Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
take my glasses off, I can't read.
So go ahead, James.
So it's number 27 is my first thing, and this is. It's just the wording we have that is giving me pause, because it's saying. I'll just read it. It is a requirement of the order that areas subject to wetland replication, buffer zone restoration, existing BVW and areas under conservation restriction as shown on exhibit 1 will be subject to permanent protection. This protection will be affected by means of permanently enforceable conservation restriction pursuant to condition 48. So what does permanent protection mean?
Permanent protection, period.
Yeah, but does that, so that means we're now limiting all buffer zone area in those specific areas?
We're trying to restrict and provide permanent protection to buffer zones, bordering vegetation, but any areas that are protected are expected to be protected permanently by that statement, I believe, as opposed to something less than permanent protection, meaning they shouldn't be affected by future work on the site that may or may not happen down the road. We don't know, but by stating that it's a permanent protection, we're asking that, or requiring that not be affected. So it's providing as strong a wording as we can provide to make it clear that protected areas, resource areas, areas that are identified under the conservation restriction, for example, are protected permanently.
My concern with that is, on a matter of principle, really, because of my line of work outside of this, is that I don't think as a commission we have that authority.
I'm
Okay.
gonna have to concur.
I don't think we can limit future site use unless it's under an like the conservation restriction parcels, I understand that's under a conservation restriction, but just buffer zone restoration area, that at one point in the future will just become buffer zone in most cases, and then at that point, and other than it being covered under our bylaw, the 25-foot no touch area, which is currently written in our bylaw, we can't then just say, no, you can't build within 100 just because it's within 100. That's
Why
just,
not?
that's superseding state law. We can't, I don't think we should be getting into.
Because
the-
applicants have to come in front of the board with a notice of intent in order to state what their
Certainly.
project is going to be.
Certainly, an applicant could come to the commission with a notice of intent to do whatever they want to on a property. Anybody can do that, sort of like you can sue anybody, even if you say you're never going to sue somebody. But what would happen after that would have to be determined by both the commission, regulatory authorities involved, and DP if necessary, et cetera. what the intent is of most of the items that are in referring to protection are to provide as much protection upfront right now in the process of the special order of conditions, so that clear for all people downstream, as it's been requested by the applicant and others, to make it clear that areas that are protected are meant to be protected permanently and not to be, I don't say easily, but without due process and thorough process that's legal, affected, and they are meant to be protected. I mean, that's, what's the point of calling them protected areas if they aren't protected? So that was the intent of this, whether.
There's a difference between those resources and the resources subject to the conservation restriction in terms of protection.
Right, well, there were more than just the conservation restriction areas that I think we wanted to protect. If there is a vernal pool that is not in the conservation restriction area, should that be protected? Yes, obviously it should. Is it not protected if it's not mentioned as wetlands replication or buffer zone restoration or vernal pool or whatever? If it's not called out, good question. I mean, is it? I don't think so.
I think
to be
that
called
it
out.
would be protected under the Wetlands Protection Act.
I think it's also.
I would agree that the word protection doesn't necessarily mean no work can be done. It means it's simply protected by the laws and guidelines that prevail at the time.
Right, so I'm saying is the applicant can say, I want to do X, Y, Z through an area that is quote unquote under conservation restriction protection, or just permanent quote unquote protection, because it's a resource area that is meant to be protected and is under whether WPA or DEP or local bylaw protected. And they can apply to do that and go through the commission, and the commission can review it and decide whether they want to grant a waiver or a change in that level of protection or refuse it, whichever course they choose to do so. So the applicant isn't stopped from being able to do any work on the site in the future. I don't think there's any issue with them not being able to come back and apply for whatever they want to do. It's putting the strongest protection in place at this point in time, so that down the road, in 6 months, a year, whatever period of time down the road, a applicant or someone chooses to do something else on, for example, this particular site, that areas that are protected are made as clearly as possible right now, identified as being really protected, as strongly as we can word it. And if we need to get legal advice, and then that's the suggestion, and it may be a very good thing to get, as to whether this could be worded or should be worded differently to better make our case now, and put our best wording forward, I'm amenable to that. I'm not a wordsmith and legal expert on this. I just did my point to make the strong case as possible to provide as strong protection as possible for areas that are supposed to be protected. So I'm
I
amenable
think that
to.
legal review would be recommended by me, because what we don't want is to put something in our order of conditions that we can't enforce, because that would make it easy to be thrown out.
Right.
That were appealed.
That's a fine point. Does the other commission members feel the same? Speak up, please. I can't tell.
I do.
It's Neil, I move that we strike number 27 in its entirety.
That's up to
I
the
do think
commission.
there are other sections that allow.
I'm just
a lot
talking
of the
about 27.
protections.
I'm talking about 27.
Yep.
I think 27, we should strike it. I think the current Wetland Protection Act and the town bylaw provide us all the legal remedies that we have, and also to the owners of the property, their legal avenues to further develop their property.
I
I
think
think
if-
that's
if-
where we stand.
If we were to leave it as is, I think it would just open us up to, if there's a development on the property, which we at this point don't think there will be, but if there is, we're just asking for us to deny it and then having a superseding order issued anyway.
Yep.
Oh, I fully expect the applicant to come back, or future owners to come back at some day and want to perform more development on this parcel.
Yeah.
But either way, we
But-
feel what the
but-
point we're trying to get across in 27 is stated clearly elsewhere in this document.
Well, it's stated clearly in the WPA, the Bellingham
Yeah, I mean-
bylaw and the CR.
We can't offer any extra protection other than current laws that we operate under.
So does this actually dilute that?
No, it's
It's
Confuses
at
it?
worst,
above our
it's-
power.
At best, it's confusing.
Okay.
And it serves no purpose. We can't offer this sort of blanket, broad protection that isn't already afforded under the
All right, Neil,
WPA and the
I
Bellingham.
don't want to cut you off, Neil, but let me ask James, because I don't want to drag the process out. If this is the leaning of the board, and that's fine, I'm fine with what the board wants to do. James, you mentioned you had a couple of points. Are there similar points with other items on the order of conditions that would be similarly need to be reviewed
Yeah.
/ checked out?
Yeah, number 30 is kind of under the same vein where it says, you know, this is the maximum amount of impervious surfaces allowed on this parcel. I don't think we have the ability to deny the kind of use of the parcel that's not under our jurisdiction. And then the second sentence is just not needed because it just says any work within the buffer zone has to come before us, but that's just in the WPA. I think 27 and 30 can both just get taken out.
I agree 100%.
Okay. Other items, James?
36, I had a question on, are all the parcel IDs, are those only the parcel IDs that are in the CR? Are those all the parcel IDs from the project?
I believe that those are the only ones in the CR. To be honest with you, I got that recommendation for those particular parcel numbers from someone else, and I did not match them up on the site.
Yeah.
We can double check that if we have to do that, that's fine. But I believe that they're the ones related to the current CR.
Doesn't
proposed.
There's only three.
And maybe the applicant can assist me here, doesn't the CR preclude development?
Yeah,
Period.
it's like the
Yep.
first thing, yeah.
Like.
I-
Regardless of whether
That's
it's in a
perfect, yeah, that's
jurisdictional area or not.
Yeah,
That's
right, so we don't need to offer any additional protection to the CR.
I
parcel.
don't believe this 36 isn't speaking to the CR. 36 is
What are those
Listening-
parcels? do you
listening
know?
to the commission. Those are the main parcel of the project, I believe,
Are those the
US development
like I
projects.
said, I didn't get those.
Pardon me, Mike?
No, that's fine. As I said, I got those from someone else. I didn't identify exactly where on the parcel.
I think, yes, they're the three parcels that are listed at the top on the first page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
comprising the projects. I think they are the parcels that make up the project limits.
So 36.
We can confirm that and they are not the conservation restriction parcels.
Okay.
Only.
If that's the case, then those, I think 36 should go too, because the order of conditions as a whole is allowing them to work on their project parcels, and then we can't, I mean, that's already limiting the work that can go on in those jurisdiction areas. I think it's just unneeded.
Don, do you have something to say?
I do. I just wanted to ask, what's the downside of having our legal experts look at that language and give us an opinion? I understand the points. I'm just curious as to why what's the downside of having them look at it? Is it just time?
Yeah, I think it's just a delay and
Time and cost.
yeah, and I really do think that these additions are just.
Well, the reason I'm asking
Over-
James, in particular, since he came up forward with these, was if we have multiple items like this that potentially could, in the commission members' opinion, open us up to, because none of us want this, myself especially, to have this easily turned over in a superseding order if appealed and so forth, because of something that shouldn't have been put in or was put in but put in incorrectly. We definitely should have a legal review of this order of conditions, which is not something we normally would do, but we've never had a project this big in town, to my knowledge, and is important and potentially environmentally impactful. So if it requires a little more time / cost, I think the commission can bear the cost of a legal review of this document. It's not going to be that burdensome. And if the commission feels that there are other items on here, I think we should, because we've already identified 3 items. If there are more, then I think that that potentially indicates that there may be some more areas that should be reviewed for, again, this kind of thing with the instructions given to the town council. What we want to do is, and they know this anyway, want to avoid putting something in or leaving something out or wording something in a way that would potentially open us up to future litigation / overriding conditions. So I'm amenable to, very much amenable to the idea, if the commission wishes to do so, to review those items, to take out what items you want to. That's up to the commission. That's why we're the commission, and to move that along in that way. So right now I have 27, 30, and 36 as potentially being unnecessary / should be eliminated, or at least reviewed and seen whether there is an issue with them to confirm that they should be eliminated. What does the commission feel they want to do?
I'll start just because I brought up all these issues. Those 3 I marked out really after I read the whole thing. So those were really my only issues. Mike, I think the rest of the document's pretty sound. Obviously, we've been working on it for a while, so I think we're
Not just me.
at least from my perspective, if those 3 are taken out, I'm ready to go. I don't know how everyone else feels though. I don't want to
Because
speak for the group.
at least a handful of these are our general ones that are in most of our orders.
Right.
Okay.
Well, if there's a consensus to have legal review it, I think we should leave those until they do that.
You can always eliminate them
agree.
after. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm just one vote, so
Yep.
I'm just
Yep.
voicing my opinion.
And
So there's 2 questions on the table, really.
Go ahead, state them, please.
Oh, one is, do we have legal review this? And the second would follow that. Do we want to remove those pieces?
I believe March, I think Matt and I sent it to town council in March. But we both
It's been a
edited a
working-
lot, so I can very specifically ask certain conditions for them to ponder on.
Did they review it in March? But that was a couple of drafts ago.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
At least
And
2.
it probably didn't have 30, 36, and, sorry, 27, 30, 36.
It could have had some, if not, maybe not all 3. You're asking me to remember something, I don't know. But, yeah, it would be fair to ask them again and specifically asking them on these conditions, if that's what you guys wish.
I mean, I agree with James. I think those 3 should be removed. I don't necessarily see the need for review, but that's.
So Ariana,
I'm not gonna have that fight.
We're gonna go based off majority anyway, so.
Yeah.
so trying to get a sense of the majority feeling as far as whether we go out with a legal review. Noel and Ariane, I haven't heard specifically. I think Ariane, actually, you did say something, didn't you, about yes?
Yeah, I'd prefer to have them review it just because,
Okay.
like Don said, I don't think it would hurt.
Noel, what do you feel?
I'm on the side of saying we remove the 3 that we discussed tonight. Even though they were in good heart, does seem like we feel comfortable that the WPA and our bylaws offer the same protection that we are wording, but just in a more legal way.
But you
Don't
haven't
know
answered the
if
question.
we
Do you want to
need
do a legal review or not?
If this has already been reviewed by,
An earlier version was, which probably is not the same document that they would be seeing now. It would be changed somewhat. So it would be, they would be seeing something somewhat different. Most of the sections would be the same as what they saw in March, but not all of them. So there would be some difference in reviews. But
What
if
do we think a time frame on legal review might be? A week?
Back within a week.
they've been very quick of the
Yeah.
stuff I've asked them about. So I would say probably within 1 week or less time period. Especially since this is fairly restricted scope and they've seen it before, the bulk of the document. So again, we would, if we decide, we would pass this back to the KP Law for a relatively quick review, identify any points, and then bring it back to the commission at the next meeting. We could do that at that point in time and just continue. And at that point in time, if the legal opinion isn't changed in anybody's mind, or there's nothing else they've brought up that is a big red flag, then the commission can decide whether they want to, or they can do it right now, take out 27, 30, and 36, and then send it to the legal team for review. But I think we need to decide one way or the other for that decision, and then to continue it. It sounds like what the commission wants to do at this point in time for a potentially for a legal review. Is that am I reading the commission right on this?
I think we have to have a vote for that first, and then if we decide as a majority that it's gonna go to legal review, we just send them the document as is. And then, because I don't have a JD, so I can't tell you if this is legally enforceable. I'm just going based off my professional experience.
Okay.
So if we do in fact vote as a majority to send it to town council or representative, then I think we just send it to them as is.
Yeah, I don't think I'm looking for a vote to, I don't think we need a vote to send it to town council. We could just continue it and then instruct Hannah to send it to town council. I think we've done that kind of thing for reviews of documents and so forth. We don't actually have to have a motion to send a document for review to town council. I don't know, is any commission member, Neil, or anybody else, you think that we really need a motion to send to town council for review?
No, I meant more, Mike, just to get a feel of the commission, like who thinks it's necessary to send it to for legal review versus those that just think we strike them and then close and issue an order.
You could poll the commission, like,
Yeah.
it's not a motion or a vote, it's just a. Taking
All right.
it, so to speak.
So before the poll, Mike, can I ask one question?
Sure, go right ahead, Steve, please.
If we agree to remove the 3 and leave it as is, are we closing this tonight?
If a motion is made to do so, commission has to move to do so.
I
If that's
feel
the
like
will, if
that's
that's
it.
the intent and desire of the commission, and someone makes a motion, seconds it, and they vote on it and pass it, then yes, the answer is we would close and issue an order of conditions tonight. That
Whether
can
we keep
happen if
this
that's what the
document,
commission wants to do.
whether we keep this document as is, or legal comes back in 5 days saying, you know, this will do nothing for you, you should strike it. That doesn't impact if we close it or not. Because
I'm just curious what's next. It's the last thing on our to-do list.
I think we should close.
Correct.
Well, we can close an issue in order. and
Yes,
then
that's
work
what I
on
think
this
we
in the
should do.
background. And then Hannah just has to issue it within 21 days of today.
Yes. All right.
Because just us voting to issue an order doesn't mean it's gonna be this one.
Right.
It's a good clarification.
Does everybody else catch that clarification that James just made?
Got it.
Okay,
It does put us under the gun to get that done within
It's legal.
and signed in 21 days.
Yeah.
So if we don't hear back from the attorneys, if they're on vacation or
We have to
if
make
they propose major changes, or, which I don't think they would, but
Let me ask you.
just want to throw that.
yeah, I'm quite confident based on the fact I was getting communications from legal counsel at 5:30 on a Friday night. Unsolicited, but welcome comment back from one of the KP members, Connor, that they will be very responsive and we won't be waiting for them to get back to us based on something like that. What they say could be something we may change our opinions on things, but that's, again, does the commission want to do that? So we need to sort of get an opinion. Are we sending this to legal counsel? If you don't think that you want to send it to legal counsel, then I guess what you would be saying by saying no, not to send it to legal counsel, there's no other reason in this case than to do anything other than decide whether you want to take items out and close it and issue an order of conditions tonight. So that's the direction that would follow then, as Steve said, what's next? That is the next item to then proceed with if you aren't going to want to send it to legal at this point in time that I can see, unless somebody else sees something else that needs to still be done. But I'm not hearing anybody saying anything else other than this.
I don't want
So-
to throw another wrench into this, but
Please
this is a
do.
project that only 4 of us can vote on?
This is, according to legal counsel, a vote that only Noel, Ariane, myself, and Neil can make for this order of conditions. The other
I'm just
commissioners can-
advocating. I will
Yes.
not be.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, legally, we cannot have anybody else vote on this. I've asked that question to them and they've given me a legal opinion.
Made my points.
Michael,
Yes, Steve.
I think you have James and Neil's position on the striking of the 3 and no need to go to legal review. I am with them.
Okay.
May I just add something really quickly as well for the,
No.
thank you, Steve.
Go
If
ahead,
that's
Rob.
okay, Mr. Chair. For 27, 30, and 36, the 3 points that are right now being discussed, it sounds like, I know just reading them, even if they are struck, those items are still under the purview of Wetland Protection Act and the Bellingham wetland bylaws, so. And the CR that will be also taken up, so. I would just state that, I mean, you can of course send this to legal counsel and I'm sure they'll get back quick enough, but I mean, looking at this, I can definitely understand the commission's concern for making sure that this doesn't get dragged into a legal issue if it is left in this order. So for the sake of, I guess, time, that makes sense. I think it, just from my perspective, it would make sense to strike those 3 items and move this along, but that I
You're
just,
not even a member.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
thank you for your non-member, non-voting, non-commission input, which is valued. I'm not.
I
being
appreciate it
sarcastic.
though.
It is appreciated. Thank you, Rob. All right, so Ariane, what's your
how
feeling?
aggressive.
Ariane, what's your feeling?
I mean, I think that since we don't have to vote on this as part of closing the hearing, that it would be like a matter of maybe an extra 1 or 2 days after we've already closed to send it to legal counsel, but I do have a feeling of what I think they would respond with, which would then cause me to strike it.
So I'm not getting it clear. Do you want to send it to legal or not?
Yes, I'd
Okay,
prefer to.
Don, I was hearing that you were saying yes. Is that correct or not? Was I mishearing you?
No, I would prefer to have legal, just either confirm that it's
That's what I
redundant.
mean. So yes, you would like to go legal.
Yes. Yep.
So we've got 3 no's, Neil, Steve, and James, who feel it can be just items just stricken, those 3 items, and not need to go legal. We've got 2 that are Noel. You had given an opinion earlier, but now you've heard some more discussion and comments. What do you feel? Should it go to legal or not, in your opinion?
Tiebreaker.
I think we've really put our heart and soul into this document. I feel like everyone has. I think we should strike 27, 30, 36. I feel they're confidently expressed elsewhere. And I think we should move towards closing this tonight.
Okay, so that's a no. Okay, so we have a majority, it's pretty clear in the straw poll, that don't want to take it to legal, and that's fine. I'm happy to go along with the commission. I'm not a voting member. I'm not going to give my input on this part because I don't think I really need to. However, the commission does need to make a formal motion to change the document, I think, and strike those 3 items out so it's clear for the record, and those are not included in the order of conditions that potentially would be the next item that we would then need a motion on tonight to move.
Why do we need a motion on it?
Well, I think for the record, since we're changing the document, I would, well,
The
maybe,
document's not the document until we sign it, Mike.
okay, that's fine.
This is already a
In that
draft.
case, in that case, I will amend what I was just saying and say that we just need to make it clear to Hannah, who is the editor and the final issuer of the final version of this document, to the applicant when it is prepared and signed for receipt by the applicant within the 21 days, that those 3 items are being wished to be stricken by the majority of the members of the commission. And then in that case, if that's the only other items that were remaining, and no one else on the commission has any other items about the order of conditions that they would like to discuss, we would need a motion to move to close the hearing and issue the order of conditions as it would finally be, as has been discussed tonight. I guess is the way I would leave it phrased for now, so that Hannah can have the leeway to make those editorial changes.
Does that need to be by one of the four?
Yep.
I believe, yes, one of the four of us needs to probably make that motion, just to be consistent. Thank you, Steve. That's a good point. Parliamentary
I'll
one.
make that motion, Ariane, online.
Okay, thank you, Ariane. Is the motion pretty clear, Hannah, you think, or do we think that our note keeper will need to have?
I am 100%, I know what's happening. We're good.
Okay, thank you. All right, just want to be clear because this is important. And after months of doing this, we don't want to get it wrong. So we've got a motion by Ariane, second, Noel or Neil?
I do second.
Okay, Noel seconded. So the four members that are eligible to vote on this particular item to close and issue the order of conditions and close the hearing for 217 Hartford Avenue and issue an order of conditions based on tonight's discussion. I will ask for a roll call vote. Neil.
I,
Okay, thank you.
sorry.
Hearing silence, and I was worried you were changing your mind.
You've been waiting years for that moment.
All right, so we have Neil, I, Noel,
Aye.
and Ariane,
Aye.
and Mike O'Hara, I online. All right, so applicant, Mr. Jeff, you have your order of conditions coming to you within 21 days. You can look to Hannah for that. And thanks for everyone for participating in this lengthy process for 217 Hartford Avenue. Hope the project goes forward and
Fireworks.
I was literally gonna say, where's the fireworks?
Yeah,
Are we
Thank
gonna
you all.
put a reunion in the order of conditions?
that's the pre-construction meeting.
Annual reunion.
There'll be a cake there.
As long as it's not on Saturday mornings.
We'll
Thank
miss
you
you
all.
guys.
Thank you. The feeling's mutual.
Mike, just so you know, I added
Brian, we'll be seeing you.
four
Back. We'll find something fun.
minor things to the other
You
business.
guys work with this.
I'm sorry, Hannah, hold on a second, because there's too many voices. I couldn't hear you.
We'll have pre-cons and everything else, so this won't be the last time we can do. Well, next time, thank you. Night.
I just want to let you know that there's a few things that I have added on to other business that isn't
I
on the
thought you might
agenda,
have.
but they're all brief.
Okay, that's
I'll
fine.
do that
So
when I
why don't we
see it.
start with the items on the agenda that are under other business?
Well, do we want to ask who's in the room?
I'm sorry, I can't even see the screen well enough to see. Is there somebody still in the room?
Yeah, we have visitors.
Yes,
Sure.
is there, can the people in the room who might be here for some business wish to identify themselves, and they can come forward to the table if they are here for something in particular?
Hello, my name
Just
is
serving.
my name is Dan Sorrell, and this is my fiance Lauren Godish. We are the new owners of 159 Blackstone Street,
Okay,
and
Welcome.
we are, thank you.
Next.
Let me pull up your pictures.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Can you start with the original one that I sent you?
yeah.
So we're here because we would like to install two more sides to a fence that exists on our property. The reason that we,
Are these okay?
those are the, do you still have the schematic that I sent you, the plan? I think it was initially forwarded by Rob. To you.
Robert?
I have paper versions as well, but it's not gonna be very helpful for the people on Zoom. So
Those for, I can,
I can give
Do
you
you
the
have it?
date that it was.
yeah, I
Cause
thought,
it's not in my forwarded email.
So Rob, you and I first had contact on July 11th,
yeah.
and there is the drawing attached in that email. Am I allowed to expand
Yeah,
about it?
yeah.
Sure, all right.
Hand away.
Sure. These are just hand drawn to the best of my ability.
This is probably the best hand-drawn schematic I've seen.
Well, thank you.
Most of them are not straight lines.
I had a little help from my father, who's a residential engineer. So- I'm sorry.
All right, please, go ahead and proceed.
So,
sir.
so the issue is that the existing fence there, I think, is in a 25-foot buffer zone or abuts a 25-foot buffer zone, from what I understand. We would like to extend essentially 3 more walls away from that buffer zone and just sort of connect the fence to our house. And so we're here to see what we need to do in order to make that kosher.
The fence, just to be clear, just a question here. The fence, to be clear, is that the red line that I'm seeing on the schematic?
So yes, the blue line that's on the schematic is what already exists approximately.
Right.
And then the red line is where we would extend it. And then, as you can see also on there, there's a rectangle where I've written shed. I would also like to put a shed on the property in order to keep lawnmower.
How
tools.
far is that from that blue line for the end of the post and rail fence?
So the
Just
post
point.
and rail fence is, I believe, denotes the 25-foot buffer zone. The shed on this drawing is approximately 20 feet away from that fence, but
Mhm.
maybe not even that much. Again, it's not drawn to scale. But
Well, I see you're close to the 50-foot BVW buffer right there with
Okay.
one side of the shed. So unless it's a very big shed, I would
Mhm.
assume you're more than 25 feet away
yeah,
with the other side of the shed, but that's your call on that. A quick other question, what type of fence are you proposing putting up for your red
I
fence?
think we would just like to match the post and rail split rail fence style that's there, and just put up chicken wire along that fence. The purpose of the fence is to corral our dog. And so it doesn't need to be anything too obstructive or anything like that.
Yeah, post and rail fence wouldn't corral much of a dog, but the
It
chicken wire,
would- it-
if it's a small
With the
dog.
chicken
Can I ask
wire,
a
it might.
question?
Yep.
Yes.
Is your backyard developed up to the fence, like landscaping, lawn?
Yes.
It's growing. right
Well,
now.
it's-
not
yeah,
really
I
big.
know.
Ariane,
Correct.
just
Rob,
FYI,
I just
Ariane,
sent
this
a
is the one that
picture.
we had to
That they're
fix
trying
the
to-
replication along the stream. And this new septic system went in along the side of the house. Used to be a septic tank in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ariana, I believe you did a site visit with Neil and I.
Yep.
yeah.
Thought it
Okay.
looked
I've sent some
familiar.
pictures that I took this morning. If you'd like to see the development, those might illustrate it for you.
You can share.
Okay.
Just grass that's trying.
Yeah, so we're trying to grow grass, but it's hard to do in the summertime.
Sure
You
is.
can see it's patchy. Essentially, that's what's going on. You can see beyond the fence in the buffer zone, the vegetation's starting to regrow. I understand the previous owner had gone through and cleared a lot of that, which,
Yeah, right up to the stream, which is not,
Yeah,
wasn't
which is
acceptable,
not-
but we didn't catch it in time.
so
just-
what we're trying to do is make
He's
sure
not
that
our friend.
he's not our friend. What we're trying to do is make sure that we don't commit any of the same transgressions that he did.
We appreciate that.
And one comment I'll make, and I had told him when we discussed on the phone, where he wants to put the shed is exactly where there was a shed there.
Yes.
And he bulldozed it.
Yeah.
Can you
So-
scroll down? I can actually show you an area where I was thinking about putting the shed.
I mean, it looked like something.
It looked like a shed was already there.
Yeah, there was a shed along that side
So-
and a bunch of other stuff.
Okay. I don't know. We can talk about that some other time, but I don't know what was there.
Just.
We normally wouldn't want somebody to put something within 25 feet of the no disturb area. So if you're outside of that area, I think given the small size of your yard, the
Yeah,
replication area that has been created at our requirement and so forth. I don't know what the commission's view is on this.
The shed's gonna be part of the fence line, so like.
I believe so, yeah.
Fence run up to the shed, then fence
And
again.
then more fence, correct?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Neil. It's sort of like a continuation of the
Maybe a
fence.
couple sections of fence.
Basically, yeah. I think roughly 70 feet of fence altogether, not continuous, but altogether.
And
That
now-
area over there where the fence ends is where I was thinking about maybe putting the shed. If that's where it was before.
This one's the right.
Yeah.
picture?
Yes, that one right there,
Yeah.
sort of in the corner over there. I'd be amenable to whatever resolution we can reach about where I can put it, but that would be a suitable area on my end.
Commission members?
Easy, both fencing and sheds are an accessory use to residential property, so as long as it's within a existing lawn, which I know this is
Not great.
working on it.
Yeah.
It's a minor activity in the buffer zone. It's exempt technically under the WPA. I think this is a little,
This is more local bylaw, if anything.
yeah, it's a little close to the 25 and we're kind of touching the 25, so in my opinion, I think maybe an RDA would kind of cover this and make it kosher, and we could just issue a negative determination once that comes in, saying it's a minor activity, and then at least there's paperwork for them that's connected to the property, and I think that would cover both.
True.
Yep, I agree. RDA, quick RDA, and I don't have a problem with.
I don't even think.
Are there any plaques on the fence that say like that there's a
There are.
wetland behind it?
Yeah.
That was part of the condition from the enforcement order.
The badge.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if he did it or not.
Yeah, there's plaques on there.
Good.
And those stay there forever?
Yes.
Okay.
For you in future to know that no grass clippings, no leaves,
Right.
no.
Nothing.
Stray
If
dogs.
anything, a fence encapsulating the whole yard is kind of nice, because it's almost like a natural, they can't, or they won't probably cut anything past the fence.
Right.
Right. All right, so just I'm sorry, I've forgotten your names already. Do you understand what an RDA is and how you would go about that process with Hannah?
I do not,
Okay, well,
but I
Hannah
was
will be
going
glad
to,
to
I was gonna
instruct you,
ask
so
Hannah.
you just be in touch with Hannah, and basically it's a request for determination of applicability is what RDA stands for, and it just will, we would come back with a negative response probably in this case, which basically say, no,
is
you don't
good.
need to go through a formal process with us.
Okay,
Negative thing in this case would probably be good, but don't worry about that. Hannah can talk you through it. I think that you can anticipate that that will be a minor bit of paperwork, and that should resolve that. Any other questions or comments from the commission about this?
No.
No? Okay, excellent. Well, thank
Thank
you
you.
for
And
coming in. And
you're just moving in and you're just new to town?
we've been there about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Welcome.
welcome to
Bellingham.
Bellingham.
Appreciate it.
It's been fun so far.
Yeah.
Great, great
They
town.
just need to make our dog happy now.
We were living in Watertown previously.
Oh, that's
No,
good.
quite a change from that.
Very different.
Welcome to the country.
Yeah. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Before
thank
we
you for
break, Mike, can I ask one question? Are
Sure.
there any restrictions on maintenance of the fence on the wetland side? What if he wants to paint or treat it or repair? No.
On the only on the back side of the fence, or you're saying we're on the fence in general?
The fence itself.
As long as the lines-
On the repairs and maintenance of the fence on the back side, where you would have to go on the other side, on the wetland side, in the 25 to get access.
No, you can go back there, you just can't do, I mean,
Change
they can
it.
walk back.
I can walk back there,
You
right?
can walk back there. You can walk-
Yeah, I can walk.
Yeah, you can walk.
Absolutely, no, I can't even look at it.
Yeah, right, yeah. Maybe I should put up a privacy.
Go like this.
Consider it
I want to
done.
say, Steve, that in all the
Okay.
years that we've
Okay.
years that we've had fences approved and required by us to be put in for applicants, that's the first time that question has been asked that I can recall. It's a good one. I think that since we've never, to my knowledge, put anything in writing saying that you have to maintain the fence, and you're allowed to do that on the conservation side of the line, so to speak, if needed, that it's just understood that you'll do whatever it takes without damaging the property on either side of the line.
I'll see.
But I don't think it really, unless you would feel you want to make some statement about it and put it something in writing, needs to be stated. That's a good point.
That
Okay.
fence will eventually deteriorate. I will be
Yeah.
allowed to replace the
Oh, yeah,
rails, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, okay,
Encouraged to do so, in fact.
okay.
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming in and being a great
Thank you.
citizen in town and doing the right thing in this case. This is great. We
All
appreciate
right, I
it.
appreciate your time.
Nice to meet everybody. Have a
Hey,
good night.
We have one more visitor.
Have a good night.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, we'll be in touch.
Yep.
All right, give me a second here. I just want to pull out the minutes because I did have one minor notation on one of them. Okay, so next item I'm going to touch base on was, is there anybody else in the room left?
Nope.
Nope,
Okay.
not anymore.
So the June minutes, I didn't see any other than Noel's name being twice on the members present. I don't know if she was a schizophrenic or online or something, double time on the 26th meeting. That one seemed fine to me. Her name other than her name appearing twice. Actually, she appears twice again on the June 12th. So Noel, I don't know if you know this, but you got a poltergeist or something like that on your members present. Maybe you were going to comment on it. I'm sorry if I jumped in there on that. But under the minutes for the 10th, there were two brief comments or brief pointers, minor ones, typos, question. So at page 5 of the minutes, Silver Lake, 42 Silver Lake request for amended order of conditions. The last sentence says there will be a blank for the next meeting. Don't know what the word is that we're missing there or words, but there will be a something for the next meeting. Order of conditions, or I don't know what was going to
I
meant to be
think
put
we
in.
asked for something specific on the plan to be added.
So if we can figure out what that was.
Was that the
stick that in
sewer
there.
extension? Yeah, I believe it was the
Septic.
I think it was actually the sewer detail on on that plan. That was
It
what he was
it
coming
was
down
the
with.
detail of the structures.
Yeah.
Correct.
And he has given me that. I
All
didn't.
right, so the words
Putting it on the agenda.
detail of the sewer structures is what we were looking for. There will be a detail for the sewer structures on the next meeting.
Yeah.
And
For the next
connector box
meeting.
that-
Okay, for the sewer structures. Okay.
Yeah, he showed it on
Thank
the, plan, but he didn't have a schematic of the structure.
Yeah, I do remember that happening now that you guys have
Where
mentioned that,
DPW
but I did
connects
want,
or
No.
his
didn't want to have
structure they
a
were gonna
partial
have
sentence
up
like
on
that.
All right.
And the
Yeah,
next
you
one,
gotta-
all right, the next one, 159 Blackstone request for certificate of compliance. Ms. Crawford shared pictures of landscape. Commission suggested just keeping the silt fence up till grass was installed and adding another rail to the fence. This is the one we just did, obviously, but you might want to put the word "the commission" suggests keeping the silt fence up till with 2 L's. Also, coming up till the cows come home is 1 L, but coming up till the grass comes in is 2 L's. Anyway, so adding the word "the" before commission would be good. And that was the only editorial comments I had for the minutes. Does anybody else have any other minutes, corrections, alterations, or edits they suggest for the June minutes?
I just wanted to say that I don't think I have access to the portal still. So
Well, that's not good.
Okay.
That sounds like.
Just
I'm
blank for
pretty
me.
sure Karen told me that you were good though.
did she add like a random Bellingham email that was made for me once that I don't use?
So when you click on existing account, it doesn't open up the portal for you, Ariane?
Fair enough.
I logged in and then I went to the Conservation Commission page and went to Concom portal. And it's just blank.
It says in her email, I said, someone who doesn't have it is Ariane Barton. And then she said, looks like Ariane was in there, but with no access, all set.
All right, well,
So
somebody needs to talk to whoever that was,
It's-
Karen, or whoever you're talking to about that it's not the case yet, so.
Ariane, do you have your login credentials?
Yeah.
The reason I ask is, I have noticed it is very fussy about which browser.
oh,
Like, it does not like Firefox, Brave, or Opera.
Chrome.
You're using Chrome.
I have to use, Google and shut all the blocks off.
oh.
All the cookie blocks that I have to shut them off.
Well, Ariane, I'm
In my
urging you to
account,
make this as
I
much of
couldn't
a
log
priority.
in for the first time, and then I tried again like a few days later and it worked fine.
Yeah, I had an issue the first time and then came back and after they had done something and it worked fine for me. But since then, all I do is go to the Conservation Commission page, click on the portal, and as soon as it gives me the option of existing account, it takes me to the Civic Plus and I'm into the page, the portal with all the hearings and so forth and documents and so forth ready for me. I don't have to log in each time either. So that's a very nice, convenient thing for me, at least. I don't know if other members do it the same way, but that's the way it works for me. And So if you can make that a priority, Aaron, because obviously you do want to get in the portal as much as you can be able to, and let us know if there's anything else we can do on our end. It's a tech issue I can't help you with, sorry.
I'll put you in an email with me and Karen so that you can specifically say, you could screenshot what your screen looks like. That helps her a lot. See what's wrong.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Make sure
Thank
it's
you.
my Gmail account, by the
Okay.
way.
Did we go over 206 before we jumped to the meeting?
We didn't
Yeah,
go over.
206
but
mechanic
we
was gonna
should
be the next
approve
one I
the
was gonna-
minutes.
Go ahead, Hannah, you got it. Take it
Well,
away.
I don't think you approved the minutes.
We didn't.
Well, that's all right. Thank you for, so any other commission members have any other things about the minutes?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for motion to approve the June 10th and the June 26th minutes as, oh wait, whether it's June 26th? Sorry, the June 12th and the June 26th minutes as edited, corrected by me, and noted, and I'm looking for a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Don. Second, someone?
Second, James.
Thank you, James.
Quick.
All right, I'll ask for vote. It has to be a roll call vote, and it's annoying, but by the ball. Neil,
Aye.
Ariane,
Aye.
Don,
Aye.
James,
Aye.
Steve,
I,
Noel,
I,
Mike online, aye. Okay, unanimous. Thanks for the minutes. Thank you,
Oh, yeah.
Hannah. Take it away.
206 mechanic, I believe I have majority of signatures. I just can't log in right now because I can't get to my VPN, but I'm pretty sure I'm good on that. And the same with 42 Silver Lake. So thank you.
I signed both of those earlier this evening.
Thank you.
Yeah, please check, please do the dot loops. I find them so easy. It just takes 2 seconds to do them and get them out of the way. If you see them come in, please do them as quick as can, because that lets Hannah do her thing. Appreciate it.
Okay, and then I'm gonna share this real quick. This is an email I got from Bellingham Shores because of someone moving in. They apparently have this DEP filing under their parcel and it is from 1986. And it was never closed out, and Bellingham Shores is claiming, I'll open it so we can look at old documents. Oh, not that one. That one's not old.
Pretty new.
This one. Ooh. Apparently they are requesting that I should close it because they never actually did this work on this property. So, which I'm fine with. I just don't really know what we've done with stuff like this that gets lost and then they're like, oh.
What was permanent?
What was the work that was gonna have been done on there that was never done? What is this document for?
The thing is I couldn't find it through the DEP portal. I couldn't find it through our basement. It's not in there.
So we don't know, again, Hannah, do you know what this was for? What work were they gonna do there?
I don't
it
know. I mean, their
septic?
title says report on shores at Silver Lake, definitive plans of the shores at Silver Lake.
The shores. The beach?
I mean, it looked like it was gonna be the same kind of thing.
Location of sewer line, road, stream crossing, pond located, no, it just refers to the drawings. It's, I mean, if they didn't do some work that was supposed to have been done there and we can verify that whatever was never done, then I guess we could just, I don't know, we get, I don't even know how you'd close something that like that out that after this long a period of time. How long
I
ago
mean,
was that thing dated?
Down
19?
at the bottom, it says my commission expires, it looks like 1990.
Yeah, the date right above that,
Notary.
Yeah. it's
above
the
that
number.
arrow,
No,
what's
they
the
can
date?
have a sense of when it was done.
Yeah, 19
Before that.
something right there.
That might be associated with the first round of the Bellingham Shores project, because I think there's been about like 4 renditions of that project that date back to the early 80s. Maybe.
I'm happy to say that this predates my tenure on the commission.
I mean,
Everybody says.
let's just pretend they actually did do the work for some reason, even with these special conditions. There wouldn't even be anything for me to really look at, I guess.
So
For all
does the-
during construction things.
So Hannah, the person that came to you with this, were they on the property at the time that this originally was pulled? Or did they inherit this document when they bought the property?
No, it's someone buying on Lilac.
It's on somebody's, it's attached to somebody's deed. Mike.
Right, okay.
So
So,
it's encumbering the deed.
so I
For
mean, I don't
closing.
have any problem with something of an ancient age that doesn't seem relevant, unencumbering it slash decertifying it, whatever it is. Is it an order of condition? What does the original document say at the very first page? Order of conditions. So if this order of conditions looks like it's been filled, we can certify that it's been filled. What would we normally do with an order of conditions that was filled? You would just do what?
Who's the
If
owner
we're-
listed there or applicant?
Beg your pardon? Say
Who's
again,
the applicant listed there?
yeah, but if they're not the current property owner, that won't matter.
No, but we might be able to find the claims.
Legendary Land Corporation.
Yeah, I think that's the initial application for the first Bellingham Shores project, which I don't think was ever built.
No, what we would need to do is we would just need to issue a CSC.
Yeah, and I'm thinking there's actually three things I can do, like complete certification parcel, and then there's a third.
Yeah, there's one for work that was never done.
Okay,
Because we have issued orders and the work never gets done and you have to close, you have to sign it because it's been recorded.
Yeah.
You have to have the CFC to close it out.
okay.
So if we can find that document, Hannah, and you send it out to the commission members and we sign off on it, that should satisfy the registry of deeds. They can record it, the applicant or property owner can record it, get it off their deed, and then move forward with buying the property or whatever they need to do to close,
Buying, selling, whatever.
That works for me.
selling, whatever. So that makes sense to the commission members? Is that what you want to do?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody have any contention about that? Issues? No?
I think at this point, it's been decades of potential. Regrowth or damage, so at this point, it's.
Well,
And
yeah.
since we would never
I'll
have
second
asked for a vote, correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, since we would have never have asked for a vote for a certificate of completion on, or we do sometimes ask for certificate of completion approval, don't we?
No, we just sign
You
it.
just sign it if you agree.
We just sign it.
Yeah, we just sign it. So, okay, so we don't have to have a vote at this point in time. It's
We can just ask
see the
Hannah.
document, sign it,
Do it
please,
for us.
send it back to Hannah.
Please.
All right.
The next mostly last thing is 66 Stevens. Margaret Bacon reached out to me from Civil Site Engineering. She was asking me if we require an NOI for septic repairs between 50 and 100. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
but she seemed like maybe other towns don't. I was like, I will ask them, but I'm almost positive yes.
Of course we do.
What's the,
Yeah.
All right.
what's the repair?
It's
Where
inside
was
of,
this, Hannah?
The 66 Stevens.
66 Stephen Road?
Yep.
Huh,
It's
it's
like
around the
a
corner
house.
from me. I have to go walk by the house tomorrow and see
but
who's getting.
Yeah,
it.
I bet, are you?
it's within, they're doing work within the 100-foot buffer zone?
Yeah, she said between the 50 and 100. She's like, I don't know. I
Then
said yes, but I
she
will
filed.
double check. Yeah.
60
All right, see, I told you these were gonna be quick.
I mean, she could do an RDA, she could do an RDA,
That's what she was asking. When
She
an
can do an
RDA
RDA.
suffice.
And then we just.
Which will then.
and we issue a positive determination and turn it into an NOI.
Oh, there you go.
The last thing I wanted to bring up, was that we have picked a date for the prospect meeting, which we did say we would technically give you guys the option to come to as long as it's not quorum, and the date.
It's next Wednesday at 2:00.
Just the all boards meeting?
Yeah, it's at the staff meeting.
31st,
Yep. the
at what
30
time, Rob?
At 2:00 in the afternoon.
In the same room you're in right now?
Correct.
Is that a week today?
That's a weekday.
Wednesdays usually are.
Okay.
Mine
I
too,
didn't hear the
yeah.
day, I just heard the date.
Anybody in the
That's what
commission?
worked with the town.
Is-
Neil's
staff.
getting snippy, he's trying to get out of here.
Is there anyone on the commission
Oh, no, I
that
came.
definitely plans on attending? Anybody on the commission definitely want to be there? I will try to be. If
I
I
cannot make that time.
beg your pardon?
I would like to be there.
Cannot make 2 in the
I
afternoon.
just, yeah, that's not a convenient time for people who have real working jobs and other lives and so forth too. I understand, no problem. I will try to make it if I can. And hopefully we'll have Hannah representing. at least
I
for
should
the
be there.
content.
Hannah, that's the last
What?
day of the month, July
Last day of the
31st.
month.
Yeah.
Yep. It looks like
Alright.
I can get
All right, cool. Maybe there'll be a couple of us there. Okay, excellent. Anybody have any other business, Hannah?
I have one really quick item, very quick. So last Monday, the select board voted to, don't even think about it.
Digging a hole
The-
over here.
Yeah, the last Monday, the select board voted to create a zoning bylaw review committee, which will be heavily relying on the land use board. So basically, it will be one member from planning board, zoning board of appeals, and conservation commission, one member from select board, and then a member of the community that isn't on the board. So, and to mention that, because maybe at the next meeting, if anybody's interested, you could appoint somebody to that board, if anyone's
Rob, do me a favor. You were spouting it up pretty quick. I started to make some notes. What is this new committee called?
It's the zoning bylaw review committee.
And it's never been in place before?
Nope. There was the charter and bylaw review committee, which was primarily looking at charters and overall bylaws, but because zoning bylaws, as you know, are so specific, you need somebody with expertise such as this board and the other
Okay.
boards.
So, and the groups that were going to be on it, zoning, planning, Concom, and what were the other two? I think you mentioned two others.
Select board member and then just a citizen at large.
Okay, citizen, okay. All
And
right,
then
if anybody in the
myself-
commission is interested, let us know.
And this sort of thing has been done before, where members of various boards have been on various committees,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
and the overlay,
Yeah.
the South Bellingham overlay.
Annie?
It's on open space.
I thought the question was specifically for zoning bylaw review, which,
Yeah, but there have been other instances similar to this over the years.
yep, definitely.
Rob, another question for you has, in the information that you received about this new committee, has any commitment levels, how often they propose meeting, how many times a year? Is it a permanent, they're looking for a permanent posting, or somebody they can rotate through for 6 months and have somebody else do it on the commission if they want or are unavailable to do so?
So what we envision is that this is going to be a pretty long term if people want to switch in through the years, because what we envision is since the zoning bylaws could use some substantial work, there's a lot of items that need to be reviewed. We can't just go into town meeting with a total overhaul of the bylaws. I would suggest going incremental with maybe 3 items per meeting to get this thing figured out over maybe a couple years.
Okay,
So, but I would envision probably a once a month meeting timeframe. And then myself and Tim Icardi will be involved from the staff. Hannah, I'm sure will also, if you're interested in any of the zoning bylaw stuff, you're more than welcome to as well, because it's mostly the land use boards. So,
okay. Good to know. So please, commission members, think about whether you'd like to be involved as a representative. If you would, let myself and or Hannah know, and we will let Rob know. And we'll keep that in mind for the next meeting. Maybe we'll bring it up as an item if you haven't heard back from anybody yet. Rob, just let us know.
sure.
Okay. Anything else on the business?
This future note, I will not be here on September 11th.
9/11, you will not be here. Okay.
I will not be here. I will be far, far away.
Okay. Neil gone. All right. Well, we may not have anything pressing at that point in time. We don't know. When is the next Prospect Village item up? And by the way, Don, in answer to your question, which we could not respond to offline, you and James, you mentioned Prospect Hill and the fact that you and James have been on the commission since they had brought up the Prospect Hill project and so forth, and would you qualify or be excluded from future votes and so forth on the hearing? Prospect Village is the current project that's under coming for us from Lou Petrosi. I think Prospect Hill was the previous project. Neil, is that right? Does that ring a bell with you? Was it called?
I believe so. That was the small subdivision.
Right.
Yeah, that was the original one, but there wasn't a second. What got me confused was there was no other public notice that I've seen.
There may have been some public hearings or notices, but if they had not appeared before us, which they have not since, they only appeared for us for the first time a couple months ago, and you were on the commission.
Okay,
So, no,
right.
it only matters when they appear for us. If they've appeared before other boards or committees, you guys are eligible to be involved and vote and so forth. You don't have to have been to some other committee or public hearing. And he
Okay.
had plenty of public hearings a year ago with departments and the public and so.
This
forth.
is a new project.
Yeah, this is a new.
Right, but if
project.
it's
You're
completely
good
a
on
new
this.
project, all right, but as completely a new project, he hasn't had a, like he did when it was Prospect Hill, he had a formal notice, he posted, notifications on the property borders along the major roads. He hadn't updated that as far as I know, so I wasn't
Oh,
sure.
yeah, I don't know about him posting that stuff along the property. You're right. That's something that he probably is required to, but he has gone through Concom with a formal
Yep.
notice of intent. So he's done his legally, he is he's doing his notice of intent. Okay. Any other?
So
comments or
are you
questions?
still a
You have to do
butters
that.
to that project?
Oh, that you
No,
have.
I'm not in a butter, I'm neighbors to a butters,
Usually not until.
and I fully disclosed it when it was Prospect Hill.
Okay,
You're not.
All right.
I would
I
maybe
don't
just
think-
do that
yeah.
again for this project.
Yeah, I think initially the first time for the project, when we review it again with him putting on the record, I don't think we're gonna have to do it at every meeting. That would be a burden that we don't.
Surprised you
I don't
didn't hit it
think we
with
need
the
to have
alley.
once it's on the
No,
record.
just because it's like a new project,
Yeah,
technically.
right.
Okay, so I'll just repeat what I had done before,
Yeah,
and I'll
just
just,
make a note to do that at the next meeting that Lou is before us. That's great, thanks. Anybody else have any other business before we look for a motion to close? And-
Just one,
Yes, go ahead,
motion
please.
to adjourn.
Thank you, Steve. Second, someone, please.
Second, James,
Who is it?
James.
James, thank you. Okay,
Roll
I'm asking
call.
for votes.
Good night, Mike.
I'm looking for votes. I gotta get the votes legally. Noel, Noel, Steve,
Unanimous.
James,
Aye.
Don, Ariane, Neil,
Aye.
Mike online, aye. Thank you, everyone.
thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Night.
Have a good
Feel
night.
better, Mike.